All in favour?
Aye.
Against? That's carried. Thank you, Russell, for that.
Okay, thank you.
Andrew, do you want to come up and do your so item 9, capital program report?
Morena, good morning everybody. Happy to report the capital report for January, month of January. David, have I got controls here? Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I just want to start on the total capital program and draw to your attention the highlight of the month that we've pulled out, the completion of the Christchurch Netball Centre Ngāpunawai car park. It's been a large project over 19 months involving not only car parking but access ways and some really good sort of sustainable drainage design and stormwater water quality treatment improvement stuff there as well. There's still some minor works to be done, but it's forecast to be within the approved budget of 9.4 million, and the substantial amount of the project has now been spent. So it's nice to draw that one out this month as a good success story. I'll move on to the core capital program and just get on the relevant page there as well, which is this one. So this month the PMO has increased its total forecast across core capital from last month. We were at 450 million. We found good cause to lift it to 470 as a year-end projection. The run rate's been good. The performance and delivery has been strong this year. Been a lot of really good achievements, and Ngāpunawai car park, a number of other highlights that I've brought to this committee over the year demonstrate that. Really good progress on some of the community facilities projects, a lot of good work on cycleways, carriageway reseals, stormwater programs, flood protection programs, and Three Waters renewals as well. So there's some really good work getting done, underpinning that confidence and lifting it to 470. I'm also pleased to see and report that the convergence with the aggregated project managers forecast is closing as well, and you can see that from the graph on the top right, and the forecasting accuracy of financial spend by PMs and across activity areas is improving, and that's really good to see as well. You can see that on the bottom right chart, which has a quite a tight cluster towards the 100% line. It sort of introduces a little bit of a competitive edge, I think, across activity areas to get that forecast right, and it seems to be having some good impact. There are a couple of exceptions that I have reported and previously discussed, and you can see that again from the cluster in the bottom right. Digital transport and waste management are the ones with the biggest discrepancy from the 100% line. We've talked about digital before, with provisions made through the overall program to fund that from next year's program and use bringbacks to support that. Transport is a little bit up, but again, with a number of movements in that area, it is supported by some really good, strong achievements in that area. So it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's above the forecast. And waste, we've reported previously, it's a much smaller amount, and that will stay in that position for the year. So there'll be a carry forward from that activity budget. I'm going to jump down to page 48. Peter Ryan, in his performance report, just spoke about the key projects, and the key projects are these ones, the watch list projects. There's 24 of them, and he talked about in his report that red indicator, 83% of the delivery milestones. So that's across these 24 projects. So that means there's 4 projects that are not meeting their baseline baseline forecast. So three of those are include Parakiori, which we've heard about, so that's why that one's red. The other two around the red time flag are the Hawesville Junction Road and Lincoln Road passenger transport improvements. We've looked at them a little bit further, and there's quite legitimate reasons for us to implement a change request to change that milestone. So Hawesville Junction Road, you'll remember, has been substantially completed, and the overall completion's contingent upon the Kiwi Rail component, which is forecast to be done at the end of the year. So we're working with the project manager to readjust that baseline. So in future reporting, we should see that going green this year. And Lincoln Road, the Lincoln Road passenger transport, still in a design phase, but also has a Three Waters project sort of integration component to it, which will legitimately push that one out by probably up to about 12 months. So we'll be pursuing a time-based change request on that one. So we should see some reds going green in future reports. The other red ones there, 4 of them are around cost. 2 of the cycleways ones. We'll continue to monitor and report on them. They're at various stages of staged construction, and there is cost pressure there, which we'll have to watch closely and undertake to report back on. And the other 2 red ones relating to cost of Pages Road, Bridge and South Library. But you'll recall, I'm sure, that those cost pressures are addressed in the LTP, and provisions are made for in that process to adjust those budgets once that LTP is adopted. So that will address them, but on the basis of the current annual plan, that's why they're red at this stage. I would like to talk just briefly about the CRAF watch list, which I've included in this quarter. And Mr. Chairman, if it's all right with you, I was proposing to leave surf until the surf report with Lynette. So, because the surf report's also included here. Sorry for the long scroll. So here's the. Sorry, that's the surf one. We've got the craft one. Oh no, I think I've jumped past it. I'm sorry. Well, I hope it's helpful just to have it up. Here we go. This is the craft one. It's not my usual computer, so it's a bit clunky. So on this one, if there's any further questions, Lynette's here to help me with this one. But just reporting at a high level, over February and through March, there's been a high level, or is going to be a continuing high level of community board interaction about these projects. And it's also just worthy to note that 17 projects under the road safety priorities delivery package here have been completed. So there's some good progress there, and a lot of engagement with community boards about the ongoing development of these projects. So happy to stop there and take any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I've got Tyler, then Celeste, then Mark, then Yanni.
Kia ora. I might have missed this. I've got 2 questions. One of them is about the Norwest Cycleway, particularly the island one, and I might have missed it. You did go over them. Can you talk to me about the status at why it's critical?
I'll have to just.
I think that was one you just mentioned as financial. It's gone from 15 to 32
Yeah, I got
million.
you. Okay.
Yep.
The next one is on the CRAF. It's on CRAF. I'll just go back down to that report. So I see a lot of them are in the investigative phases, and around the delivery, knowing council, things blow out. So around the delivery, do you think we'll be staying on price?
So for CRAF, we have to stay on price.
Yep.
We've got a fixed budget from the government to deliver updates in this area. So if we can't do all of the work, we have to come back to the community board. Staff will have to come back to the community board and reprioritise the projects. Then we will have to look at whether those projects that can't be delivered under CRAF are valid projects to go into an annual plan or a long-term plan in the future.
Sure. To save time and money, what's the likelihood of a lot of these going actually outside of the budget that you've put forward here?
The team are working hard to get the best budgets they can and achieve the most they can for the money they've got, but
Hard to know.
it depends. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. And you come to us, or the board, essentially, with a prioritisation list that we'd want to be seen delivered. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Tyler. Celeste, and then Mark.
This is a question for Brent. It's around some of the stop bank projects. I'm just looking at page 70 and 71. I just wondered if you could just give a bit more detail around it says that the stop bank requirements have changed from those agreed in the concept design. Can you just elaborate on what that means for the project itself?
So part of the work we've been doing over the last few months is looking at the design of the stop banks, the level of protection it gives, and the alignment. The alignment hasn't changed. It was in the regeneration plan, and the original stop bank design of it that has gone at Waitaki Street is, if you have seen it, is quite substantial. And so we've had a look at the height of that and the timing in terms of providing the biggest area of protection to the widest area of the adjoining properties, and the time taken was potentially going to take far too long to achieve a level of protection prior to the end of the temporary stop banks on the edge of the river failing or needing extra OPEX money. So we've had a look at what we can do in terms of the design to get as we combat sea level rise and the vertical land movement, getting a level of service to provide the correct level of protection to the houses before the temporary stop bank failure, and then build them in such a way that we can then go in and add to the top of those at a future point. And the way we've done that is worked on our current levels of service and added a freeboard there for to allow for more vertical land movement, more sea level rise, but we've also added another freeboard in there for wave action, that type of thing. So there has been a bit of a change in thinking about how the stop banks are going to look, and I've asked the team to prepare something that we'll be able to bring back to council just to show you what that might look like. The key is, though, that with the design is that it's to achieve that same level of protection to the surrounding areas.
So just to summarise, is it fair to say that it's a staged process? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So a staged process to make sure that we don't end up with any areas left vulnerable while we're building the stop banks. And then it's also looking at building now for this generation of protection, then adding to protect the future generations, and also where those costs may lay.
And just quick follow up. Is part of the consideration cost in terms of making sure that
it was more around risk. For it's a combination of risk and what we had on budget. So the key is the risk for us, so that we can provide that level of service and protection to those adjoining areas, and we can do that by doing it in a staged way.
And final one is, how confident are you, if you're not building them as high, which is sort of what I understand at this stage, that we'll get the same level of protection? Are you will we get that information? You're saying
Yes.
that'll come back to us,
Yeah,
so
we'll,
we can.
we'll give you that information, and that's why we do it in a stage way, so you can get that level of protection over a period of time. We'll bring it back to council.
Thank you.
Thanks, Celeste and Brent. Mark, Yanni, and then Tyrone.
Thank you. This is potentially for Lynette, I'm thinking. And this is a perennial theme and question around our relationship with Kiwi Rail and how it continues to impact upon a number of our projects. Have we considered the idea of reaching out to Kiwi Rail and asking their, I guess, chief executive level to come and explain to us why they're so problematic to us and how we could work better together?
So through the chair, can I just clarify, our relationship with Kiwi Rail is good. Our working relationship at a staff level is really good. We are working really hard together to achieve the right outcomes for the community. The challenge we have is a difference in process and difference in resourcing capability. And Kiwi Rail are running a national program to deliver that. And I know there has been recently conversations at chief executive level.
Very good. So could the, I guess, ratepayers of Christchurch be confident that we're getting that relationship to really function to our benefit and not cost us huge cost overruns and delays like we've been seeing?
To be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yanni?
Yeah, thanks. So my understanding is that tomorrow we're going to get the updated craft costings. Is that correct? At Community Board?
So, as per the information that went back, I think everyone got a copy of it. There is a briefing with the Linwood Heathcote Central.
No, it's the Coastal Board.
Coastal Bearwood Linwood. Sorry, it was Linwood Heathcote Central Community Board. So the Coastal Bearwood Linwood Community Board tomorrow to update them on information regarding this and to discuss the outcomes of the surf report that's to come.
So I'm just kind of trying to get my head around all this. Like I'm told that the craft and the surf aren't related, and that I'm confusing it by putting them together. But then if you look at the craft, a number of the craft ones were taken off and put into surf, and surf delayed a number of the craft ones as well. And the budgets are all over the place. So I'm just trying to understand how we can get the full picture of all these transport projects. We've also had community come in this morning and make deputations.
Yep.
How can we get it all considered together so we know what the updated budget costs are and how we're prioritising within the two programs, rather than doing it, LTP yesterday where we didn't do any of it, today having
So
this
you've asked a question.
yeah, and then community board having a report tomorrow.
So
or a
through the
briefing.
chair, the surf report will be considered today, and the outcomes of that will be whatever your decision is today. And the community board will consider the CRAF program for its community board area, and there is a briefing on that tomorrow.
So are the community boards tomorrow, or whenever because I've written there's other ones as well, are they going to be asked to reprioritise the CRAF projects tomorrow based on the revised costings?
You'll be given that information tomorrow with the community board, yes. So then you will, if you can't do everything for the budget that you've got for your area, we will have to reprioritise, yes.
So why would we not get change requests coming in to actually deliver the projects that we'd agreed we'd do with the community,
So
like we do for other projects?
I'm sorry, through the chair, Councillor, are you talking about craft projects or are you talking about surf projects?
Yeah, like either or. Obviously I understand that the
So-
surf ones have significant government funding, but in terms of the craft ones that we've agreed that we would do and that we've repeatedly delayed, I'm just trying to understand what, normally when we've had projects before at council, like transport ones that have blown out, Hallsville Junction, we get a report that comes to us and says, here's the additional money that we're taking, like a change request, and it gets done. So I'm struggling to understand why the craft ones are not in the same situation. And I guess that's
Okay, stop, because that's a good question. So stop there.
So through the chair, the question that Councillor Harrison Hunt asked earlier actually answers that question.
Yeah.
There is a fixed budget for the areas for the CRAF, and should we not be able to do all of the scope, that then needs to be considered both through the community board priorities and an annual plan and long-term plan process as projects in their own right.
Yanni's saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if we've got a heap of, and I may get this wrong, if we've got a heap of projects that we've already agreed to, we've consulted the community, and the projects have gone up in price, so they're outside of that envelope, what we would normally see, like with some of the other ones that are in here today, that we would see we would see change requests come through from program lines. I think what Yanni's saying is that process the same for this as opposed to our normal transport plan, or
it's not, because there is a fixed budget and the decisions sit with the community board to reprioritise the work.
Right. So just so I'm clear, and sorry, I'm going to ask another stupid one. So if we were looking to change that to get what Yanni is requiring, which is the projects we've already agreed to and are on track to deliver, but we know they've gone up, therefore we need to stop things. Is that a council resolution that would have to change that approach? Not for CREF, yeah.
Most of the CREF report, just to clarify, most of the CREF, they're still progressing, so they're not at a stage where we're not at that stage with the CREF projects to the same degree. If we've consulted on them and they've gone up, we're going back to the community board to say the line on the list is shifted up to here, because there's others down here that we haven't consulted on yet. If that makes sense.
Right. So, but everything we've agreed on and consulted on will still be delivered.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Well, not through SURF.
No.
No, but for the CREF is my understanding.
Yeah.
If we've consulted on it, we're looking to deliver it.
Yeah.
So if we can't, we will go back to the community board and have that conversation in the first instance, and then we may come back to
That's the point
council.
we're trying to get to, and I think it might be something that Jane and you and that take away. We're not going to solve it today, but I guess it would be good to understand the difference in approach. I get we've got a fixed budget, but actually when stuff blows out in other areas, well, not blows out, that's unfair. When it goes up in budget in other areas, then we'd look to do a change request, which we'll consider in peak. So can we're not going to solve it now, but can we take it away and come back with something very, very clear?
Yes, I'll come back with some written advice.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll talk to the councillor.
And the other question I had is why is the road safety ones being progressed so much and so much ahead of the ones that the community board have asked for? Like, we've got 10% delivery of the Linwood Wolston Craft, but the road safety ones have got 62% delivery. Like, why have we not been able to deliver the community ones?
So I kind of want to. I think we've got to a point with CREF where we've done it to death today. The team are going to take away some work and come back to us to be really clear. And there's obviously a community briefing which I would expect is public tomorrow.
So can I just...
And we will add to the written advice the answer to that question. So
could I move a resolution that we ask staff to look at how they can accelerate the capital regeneration acceleration funded projects at a community board level, so that we can get them delivered sooner and save the money that's that's costing more and more the longer it goes on.
Yeah. So
is that a resolution we can pass today?
So the answer is I don't know. So what we'll do is we'll go to the other questions, but it would be good if Helen and Lynette could have a chat about that now. Because so let's go to the other questions and see if we can work out. Can you send through your proposed resolution to Helen and Lynette and maybe the transport team? Yeah. Okay. So Tyrone and then Melanie, then Phil.
Thanks, Sam.
No. I just want to move around so everyone. Yeah.
I've just got one, Yanni. Akaroa Wharf. So just page 63. You need to have that on, just on.
I need to touch.
All right. Let's go.
Sorry. Just punch the page in. Donut charts have their place.
Okay, Tyrone, let's do it.
Anyway, sorry. The just like the actuals to date versus the forecast versus the budget. Like, it's obviously tracking a little bit behind. Budget for next year, according to this, is for next year for 2025 is 11.7. I know that that's been pared back by a couple of million. in the draft LTP that we just signed off yesterday. Are we confident that, I mean, it seems to be dragging quite a long way behind. Are we, I mean, what's our sense of how much work is going to get done on that in 24, 20, in FY25?
Sure. So what you can't see in
And
this
the safety
report, of course,
risks.
is what's going on behind the scenes.
Yep.
And essentially, there has been some, what I would call minor delay. They're being very conservative about this project because it's quite a complex project. You can see in the image that there are buildings associated to this wharf, and there are ongoing conversations with the private owners about how this project proceeds and options associated to ensuring, in particular, the delivery of the new wharf doesn't impact their buildings and structures because they're private. And so it's a complex conversation that we're working through some legalities as well. It's not slowing up the design process, but we need to get agreement with those private owners on any mitigation that needs to be included and how we look after those structures.
So there's a risk that the project's going to slip in. I'm not worried from a slippage perspective.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a sense that, it's quite heavily front-loaded into 2025 at this
Yes.
stage.
Yes.
Is there a risk of
So the technical aspects of the project are moving at a normal pace. So we're quite confident in terms of where we're going. Yeah.
at this stage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's cool. Cheers.
Cool. Melanie, then Phil. Seems like a dangerous
Guessing, yeah,
combination.
we need a staff member that's not in the room.
Oh,
now.
right. Okay. Yanni is. Well, have you both got transport questions?
My one's on waste management. That's Lynette too, isn't it?
Yeah, Lynette will be the only one.
Mine was a
waste
transport one as well.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll stop now for morning tea. Yanni, can you hang around because we need to get your amendment sorted. So if everyone's keen to come back at, let's say,
Regine is a bit far.
11:15. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
11:15.
We will if we have to.
Yeah.